You're missing out on an opportunity by keeping your first home savings in a bank account. Banks are offering interest of only up to 1%, which is way lower than what the property market is rising. There is a much better and faster method to saving for your first home than keeping cash in your bank account. And it's much easier than you might think. Let me tell you a story. For decades, the Australian dream has been to own a big house in a leafy neighbourhood with a white picket fence, 2 golden retrievers, and a backyard cricket pitch. But recently, the property market has been booming so much that it's a seemingly impossible mountain that millennials have to climb in order to buy their first homes. But it can be done. In fact, I just bought my first home at age 22. And to be transparent, I didn't use the strategy in this video, but I wish I knew about it sooner. When I was saving, I had one main priority: risk management. The first rule of investing is don't lose money. But this begs the question, if I'm saving up for my first house and I'm hoarding cash in my bank account, surely I'm missing out on investment returns. This is called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is actually such an important concept of economics that it's defined in this book, Economics in 2 Lessons, on page 3, right at the start. The opportunity cost of anything of value is what you must give up so that you can have it. So the opportunity cost of spending $10 at a cafe on your favorite avocado on toast is that you can't spend that $10 elsewhere, maybe on groceries or bills. The opportunity cost of keeping cash under your mattress is that you can't go and use that cash to invest and earn investment returns. But when you're saving for your first home, where should you invest your money so that you don't lose any money, but you're not missing out on any capital growth? Let me introduce you to 3 of my handsome friends: Green Greg, Orange Oscar, and Blue Barry. Each of my friends have been saving for their first homes using different strategies. Greg is keeping all his money in his bank accounts, Oscar is investing into stocks, and Barry has started using the secret strategy. More on that later. First up is Greg, who is saving for his home using cash. This is the strategy used by 98% of Australians. And I made that statistic up, but it sounds about right. And it's used by so many because it's so simple and it can't lose you money. The Commonwealth government has actually insured bank accounts of up to $250,000. Therefore, Greg scores a 10 out of 10 when it comes to risk management. However, there's an elephant in the room. Greg is losing purchasing power due to inflation. Inflation is where the cost of living goes up every year, and here in Australia, we're at about 3% every year. So for every year that you keep cash in your bank account, you're actually losing 3%. Therefore, when it comes to investment returns, Greg only scores a 1 out of 10. A quick note on term deposits. Term deposits are still cash, but you've tied it up for a set amount of time, usually 3, 6, or 12 months. But in return for the reduced liquidity, the bank has offered you a slightly better interest rate. But don't be fooled, you're probably still losing out to inflation. Next is Oscar, who has been investing in the stock market with the plan to sell his stocks in 3 to 5 years when he's ready to buy his first home. The thing with the stock market is that it goes up and down. In fact, it only goes up about 2/3 of the time. So when it comes to risk management, we're scoring Oscar a 6 out of 10. But the attractive thing about the stock market is that it offers higher returns. The stock market averages a return around 8% per year, which can make a massive difference when you're saving for your first home. So Oscar's gonna score a 7 out of 10 for investment returns. And lastly, we have Barry, who has been using the secret strategy, where not only is your capital safe, but you're also guaranteed instant returns. But what is this secret strategy? It's the First Home Super Saver Scheme. Despite having a mouthful of a name, the First Home Super Saver Scheme is the holy grail of saving for your first home deposit. Your super fund is basically a piggy bank that you can use to save, they'll invest for you, and then when you're ready to buy your first home, you can withdraw your funds. This benefits you in 2 ways. It reduces your taxable income, so you'll actually pay less tax, and it establishes a discipline for saving because you physically cannot withdraw the funds unless you're using it for your first home deposit. Therefore, we're scoring Barry an 8 out of 10 for risk management. This system is so good because it lets you arbitrage the tax rates between your marginal tax rate and the tax rate of super funds. In case you didn't know, super funds are only taxed at 15%, whereas you can be taxed anywhere up to 47%. Therefore, you're actually guaranteed returns just in the form of tax saved. Your super fund will also invest on your behalf, and most super funds aim for about 5% per year. So between the guaranteed savings in tax and the extra 5% per year, Barry scores an 8 out of 10 for investment returns. Looking at the final scores for the saving strategies, The First Home Super Saver scheme clearly wins with an advantage in risk management and investment returns. If you want to start using the scheme, this is what you'll have to do. Go to your employer and say that you want to start salary sacrificing into your super. They'll probably ask you how much you want to sacrifice, and I'd recommend starting with an extra 5%. This means that your employer will decrease your take-home pay by 5%, but they'll increase how much they pay to your super fund by 5%. You can then withdraw this extra little bit of super and any investment returns related to those contributions when you're ready to buy your first home. But you do need to be aware that at the moment you can only withdraw up to $30,000 from this scheme. The government has said that they plan to increase this to $50,000, but that's not a law just yet. If you really want to buy a first home, may I suggest learning how to get free money from the government by watching this video here.